St. Augustine of Hippo. Hello friends, family, and all others. I am Christesius, St. Augustine's best friend. We have gathered here today to mourn the loss of my friend, St. Augustine of Hippo. As his friend, I feel it is only necessary to speak of his accomplishments, of which there are many. Throughout his life, St. Augustine never failed to impress. He was considered one of the most important Christian thinkers after St. Paul, and was called a doctor of the church or father of the church. He was widely known as a writer in Gaul, Spain, Italy, and the Middle East. First, I shall introduce him to you all. His full name is St. Augustine of Hippo, and his Latin name is Aurelius Augustinus, but he goes by St. Augustine. St. Augustine was born on the 13th of November, 354, in Tagaste, Numidia, which is now called Souk Ahras, Algeria. As you know, he died of illness on August 28, 430, in Hippo Regius, which has also been renamed and is now called Annaba, Algeria. His grave was originally in Hippo, but it was moved to the Basilica of San Pietro in Pavia, Italy. His mother was Monica and his father was Patricius. He was a theologian, writer, preacher, rhetorician, and bishop. St. Augustine accomplished many admirable things throughout his life, and I hope to share them all with you chronologically. He started his life in Tagaste, a modest Roman community in Africa, 40 miles from the Mediterranean coast. His mother and father were a respectable class, meaning they were free to live in the work of others. St. Augustine was lucky enough to have a first-class education, even though he had at least 2 siblings. I can't remember the exact number. He seems to be the only one that had a first-class education. This schooling came for borrowed money sometimes, but St. Augustine still got a full education. He had to travel to achieve this sometimes, but he still did it. He first studied in Tagaste, his hometown, then Matarus, and he finished his studies in Carthage. St. Augustine had many careers throughout his time, and he started right in Tagaste. His first job was teaching in Tagaste, which he did for a short time. He then left Tagaste and went to Carthage to teach there. In Carthage, he taught rhetoric, the art of persuasion with words. While there, he wrote a short philosophical book aimed at displaying his own merits and furthering his career, although sadly, this work has been lost. In 383, St. Augustine was 28 years old and growing restless, so he left Carthage to go to Rome. In Rome, he taught briefly before landing a plum appointment as imperial officer of rhetoric at Milan. Milan was the de facto capital of Rome, and careers were best made there at the time. Sadly, it was in Milan his career ran aground. After only 2 years teaching there, he resigned from his post. After that, he did some soul searching and was idle for some time, but eventually he came back to me in his hometown Tagaste. While back with me and the rest of our friends, he passed the time as a cultured squire and took care of the family property and raised his son, Adeodatus. Sadly, Adeodatus died as an adolescent, and poor Augustine sold off the family property then. At this point, Augustine was 36 and literally pressed into being a junior clergyman in Hippo, a city on the coast centered around trade, without the wealth or culture of Carthage or Rome. This transition was not surprising, seeing as St. Augustine has always dabbled in some form or another of Christianity. As a matter of fact, it is suspected that the collapse of his career in Milan had something to do with intensifying religion. From this point forward, all of his writings were driven by a particular form of Christianity that was both orthodox and intellectual. The North African co-religionists accepted St. Augustine's new style with difficulty after Augustine associated himself with the official branch of Christianity. This branch was approved by most emperors and reviled by the most enthusiastic and numerous branches of the African Church. Augustine's literary and intellectual abilities gave him the power to articulate his vision of Christianity to set him apart. He was a skilled enough writer that he could write at high and low levels, making it so everyone could understand him, so he could sway them in his favor. He was also very talented at delivering sermons. In 391, Augustine was made into a presbyter in Hippo. A presbyter was roughly a priest, but they had less power than the modern priest does. In either 395 or 396, I can't remember, he made a bishop of Hippo. He then stayed in that office for the rest of his life. Sadly, St. Augustine never felt truly at home in Hippo, and would travel for several months at a time to Carthage to pursue ecclesiastical business in an environment more welcoming to his abilities. His educational background and cultural milieu trained him for the art of rhetoric. In case you don't know, rhetoric is declaring power through speech and differentiating yourself from your fellows and swaying the crowd to support you. His skill at the art of rhetoric was best showed when he was visiting the town of Caesarea Marientensis, and he ended a riot that had started. In the 390s and the 410s, St. Augustine was trying very hard to to get his branch of Christianity to prevail over the others. He wrote many books attacking Manichaeism, a form of Christianity. He and his chief colleague in the official church of Africa were against Donatism, a form of Christianity that had fallen afoul of Christian emperors. They did so in books. The fight finally ended when the emperor sent an official representative to hold a three-session debate against Augustine's party, which of course Augustine won. In his 60th year, Augustine found the last great challenge for himself. He had taken offense at the implications of the teachings of a visiting preacher named Pelagius. He ended up working himself up to a fever of the ideas exposed by Pelagius. Even though he had been told to be cautious, Augustine persisted against Pelagius and even recruited some dignified monks and bishops to support his cause. He brought people to condemn Pelagius and his followers in 416 and 418. When he died in 430, he was fighting against his principal opponent, Italian Bishop Julian of Anclanum, who supported Pelagius' views. As I bring this to a conclusion, I remember all the fun times we had together throughout our lives. I know that he will live on through his many books, such as The City of God and Confessions. I hope he is happy wherever he is. Know that we will all miss him dearly. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is St. Patrick. My real name is actually Moen Second. I changed it when I became a priest, and it means father in Latin. I was born in Britain, and I was followed up by the Romans. I was born around 385 to 461 AD. Some of you may know of a celebrated holiday called St. Patrick's Day. That holiday is actually named after me. St. Patrick's Day, the holiday is actually named after me. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on March 17th, which is the day I died. When I was 16 years old, I was taken by Irish raiders from the villa of my father. When they took me to Ireland, they forced me to become a slave, but after six years, I escaped. Before I could escape, I prayed to God to help me. They were going towards Britain, and I was back to Ireland. When I returned, I deeply dreamed of going back to Ireland. When I moved back to Ireland, I became a bishop and baptized thousands of far and close local people. I died at Seoul, where I built my first church. This is my coat, and this is my staff, which I got from a hermit on an island who received it from Jesus Christ. And that's my crown.
Hello, my name is Pope Leo the Great. I was born in Utrea, Italy. I became a pope because I wanted to maintain the unity of the church, and all the people supported me. I saved Rome from Attila the Hun. Attila wanted to take all over Italy, and when he wanted to conquer Rome, I pleaded for mercy, and Attila saw Peter and Paul hovering over me. I believed in my religious beliefs and authority to convince the Germanic Vandals from killing all the Roman people and burning Rome. When the Germanic Vandals sacked Rome, they took all of Rome's gold and valuables. I was the first pope to be buried at St. Peter's Basilica, which is in the Vatican today. It is the biggest church in the world, and there are 100 popes buried there. One of the reasons why I became doctor of the church was because I wrote hundreds of sermons that I still use today. I also created the first meeting of the bishops, and that was called the Unimical Council.
About Saint Benedict. Saint Benedict was born in 480 CE in Italy, Nursia. Died in 547 CE. Benedict was born into wealth and went to Roman schools very young. Benedict retired young and moved into a cave for 3 years with food and furnished furniture. Later, he founded the Benedictine monasteries. His only authorities in life were the St. Gregory's book, whatever. He built 12 monasteries, each with 12 monks. One monastery was used for trainees and practicing. His most famous monastery was Abbey of Monte Cassino. Some senators even offered their sons under his care. At one point, someone tried to poison him with his wine.
Theodora, born in 497 CE. And then this is just a picture of how Theodora looks. And then here are some fun facts of Theodora. The first one that I have is that Theodora was a Byzantine empress. Theodora grew up on the outskirts of the Byzantine outskirts of Byzantine, like where it is, empire. Theodora was remembered to be one of the most powerful women in Byzantine history, and her religious beliefs were centered around Miaphysitism, which means a Christian doctrine grounded in the premise of Christ's singular nature, which is at once a fully human and fully divine. Theodora's legacy is also immortalized in the mosaic portrait in a church of San Vitale in Italy. Theodora was born at about 497 CE, and she died on June 28th, 548 CE. She died in Constantinople, and she died because she got breast cancer. Theodora's name is Greek, and when she got married when she was 28 years old, and her name means a gift from God. And then here's just tic-tac-toe, which we might eventually play. But below that we have a map of like where Constantinople is, because it's Constantinople because she died in Constantinople, and she was also born there. So I just did like around Constantinople and where Constantinople was, like the Black Sea, Romania, Greece, Aegean Sea, and Turkey, and Bulgaria. And then the timeline, here are just 6 dates in her life. There are more, but here are like one of the more important ones, is that she was born in 497 CE. 2, she was converted to the religion Miaphysitism in 516 CE. She became empress in 525 CE. She married Justinian I in 525 CE. She gave her speech about Justinian I being called the new emperor in 532 CE. And lastly, Theodora died on June 8th, 548 CE. And that is it to my presentation.
I made a map of the Byzantine Empire, expanding during Justinian I's rule. He was born in 483 CE and died in 565 CE from natural causes. As a young man, he moved to Constantinople, where he received education because his uncle Justin was a high-ranking military official. When the emperor that Justinian served died, Justin became emperor because he was the only one who had troops in Constantinople. Justinian then met Theodora, and they married right after Justin's wife died. And then when Justin died, Justinian became the ruler of the Byzantine Empire. Justinian helped reform laws and conquer back a lot of the areas that used to be the Roman Empire, and he collected a lot of, and he helped rebuild the empire that wasn't doing very well at that point. So in 527, he was like this. This was when he became emperor. In 535, they attacked the Vandals and took back this area. Then in 548, they attacked the Ostrogoths and tried to take the Italian peninsula, but for a long time they were just battling and trying to conquer that area. And then in 552, they won, and they conquered the Ostrogoths in 554 CE.
Saint Hilda of Whitby. Hilda at an early age. Hilda of Whitby was born in 614 in the kingdom of Dira. Her father's name was Herrick and her mother's name was Brigsu. They were a happy family. Her father was the nephew of King Edwin of Northumbria, making Hilda the great niece. At only a young age, Herrick got kept captive until he was finally poisoned and passed away. Brigsu, Hilda's mother, suffered a lot from this, and she had a dream about it. In the dream, Brigsu looked all over for her husband. She grew sad and had no luck to find him, but she had found a jewel under her pillow that spread all throughout Britain. Knowing this dream, Brigsu decided to try to make Hilda's life as happy as possible. When Hilda was 13 years old, she got baptized on Easter by St. Paulinus, who was the present-day location of York Minster, a plan to make her greater. Hilda had decided to dedicate her life to God, even though her first thought was to follow in her distant sister's footsteps and enter the convent in Chelles, France. However, St. Aidan really made Hilda change her mind. He gave Hilda a kind of plot on the north bank of the Wear River. Hilda started to live a monastic life in the place that would soon be named after her. During Hilda's first year of a religious lifestyle, St. Aidan informed all the nuns about the tradition of Celtic monasticism, which St. Aidan was very familiar with because he had come from the island of Lona, which is off the west coast of the place we know today as Scotland. Here's a map of where Lona is. It's just right off of the United Kingdom. It is on the island that St. Columba had established a monastic in around the time frame of 563. At the end of the year, Hilda was appointed abbess by Bishop Aidan. It is very clear that Hilda's former years before becoming a nun had prepared Hilda for this new life that she's experiencing. A few words from Hilda. Hello, I am Hilda of Whitby. I decided to come back from the dead to tell you a few more things about me. You may be wondering why I'm remembered today. Well, I'm remembered because I'm the founder of Stream but it is now called Whitby after me. Also, I'm in charge of the Abbey during the Synod of Whitby. You may have heard of the legend about me. Just in case you have not heard of it, here it is. The legend about me. I got rid of all the evil snakes in what is now called Whitby. I threw them off the top of the Abbey cliff, and when I dropped them off the cliff, they turned into rocks because of the fire of my anger. This legend is a little more exaggerated than what actually happened, but you get the point. When I was young, my father got poisoned and passed away, and it was really hard for me and my mother. But when I decided to dedicate my life to the Lord, I came back into someone that people will never forget. Thank you for listening. You may think that this would stop her, but it did not. Hilda still did what she's famous for, even though she had a horrible fever, and this is what shows that Hilda is a powerful, strong woman. Her death was on November 17th, 680 AD. Hilda's remains are in Glastonbury. Fun facts and important things to know about Hilda. 1. She was born in 614. 2. She has a church named after her. The church's name is the Anglican Church. 3. She died at age 66 due to extremely high fever. 4. Hilda's religion is English Christianity. 5. She was a saint and a nun. 6. She was baptized at 13. 7. She had a depressing young life due to her father's death. 8. Had a famous great-uncle named King Edwin. 9. Had a sister, but she is not mentioned in Hilda's life for the most part. And then I did a quiz about her. So I will ask the questions to you, and if you get it right, then congratulations. What age was Hilda baptized? Liv.
13.
Correct. Does Hilda have a sibling? Brody.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's distant. Why was Hilda famous? And
Because she threw bad snakes off a cliff.
Andy.
Because she was a saint?
Kind of. Tegan.
She was an important Christian figure?
Put him in for you. When did Hilda die? Carrington.
64.
No, not age. What, like, year?
Oh, wait.
The answer was 680.
Okay, I'm Charles Martell, and I made this lovely poster to teach to all you guys about me. So, I'm Charles Martell. My nickname is the Hammer of God. Okay, so here's a little picture of me, and I was born in, forget about it. I was born in the 23rd day of August, C, or 686 or 688, Herstal, Austrasia, and I died on the 22nd of October in 741. I was the king of the Frankish kingdom for 26 years until I died. I was also the mayor of the Austrasia Palace until I was elected king. Then I defeated the Muslims and Arabian invaders. I also had 9 kids. One of them was Pepin the Short. He was the king after I died, and I also preserved the faith of Christianity, and this is why I'm called the Hammer of God in the Battle of Tours. The Battle of Tours is a famous battle that I won. Also, Martell means hammer. And here's some facts. I was the ruler of the Frankish kingdom. I also fought the Germanic tribes. I was the mayor of Austrasia until I was made king. I established a strong centralized government in the Frankish kingdoms. I helped Christianity remain the main religion in Europe. Martel means hammer in French. I am Charlemagne's grandfather. And here is something about the Battle of Tours. This was a famous battle that I helped win. An Arabian general that was marching his armies to take Aquitaine, which is a country or kingdom south of the Frankish kingdoms. And the Arabian general was named Raman, and King Odo was the king of Aquitaine. Raman defeated Odo, so Odo retreated to me, and I helped him defeat Raman. On the battlefield, and Odo had on the battlefield, I and Odo had the high ground against Raman. Although we only had 20,000 soldiers and Raman had 330,000 soldiers, this meant it was 3-1, but I had a good positioning. So I eventually won and the Arabians retreated and Raman was killed.
I stand here today in remembrance of my dear friend and colleague, Saint Boniface. I, Pope Gregory, had the privilege to know the man quite well. He was like a brother to me. When he first came to me, he was quite an accomplished scholar and teacher. He had come from Essex, England, where at a young age he had chosen to take the life of a religious man. At 30, he became a Benedictine saint. That was well before I knew him. I first met him when he was traveling to Rome with a group of Saxons. Then almost immediately, so fast that he did not like me at first, I sent him on his first mission in 718 to Frisia to baptize people the new Roman way. I heard while he was in Frisia, he got in a fight with a bunch of Celtic saints and had to be sent back here, and it was regulated by Saint Zacharias. After that, I decided to make the choice to name him Saint Boniface, which means the one who does good. You see, I had very high hopes for this man, and I knew that he would do this world much good. I then sent him and Charles Martel. A little anecdote here. The night they left, we had a feast, and Charles spilled some gravy on my new robes, which was not well accepted by me, so I sent them in the middle of the night instead of the next morning. Back on track, we sent Charles with him for protection from armed pagans who might try to kill the new saint. Surprisingly, not everybody appreciated him. They were in Germany when he famously cut down a sacred German tree, which was a bold move if you ask me, and then converted everyone in that city. After that, I was able to see him again and in 725 sent him to Thuringia to convert some pagans there. While he was there, he did a marvelous job converting and baptizing people. His way of doing it was he read to them in their own language. He was quite fluent in many languages, and read scriptures to them. He then went to Bavaria and apparently found a bunch of monasteries that were apparently growing some German craft beer. He got a bit rowdy after drinking a bit too much. I might have done the same before. I remember that in 732, when I was named the head pope, obviously this was a very proud time for me, but something about this leadership position didn't feel right. I figured out what it was and immediately ordered Boniface back here and named him the new archbishop. I also remember once that our good friend Charles Martel wanted his empire's religion to be refined. Wanting the best for the Franks, I sent over Winfrith to help. In 747, he made council that's one job was to completely refine the religious belief of the Franks. Going back to his position as archbishop, 6 years later, after being named that, he came to me and wanting to resign. You know, I never knew his true intentions on wanting to resign. He said it was because he wanted to focus on evangelizing pagans. Back to the French, he was given a fortress called Mainz in 745, which is to him a silver platter to convert more people in Bavaria. I'm sorry I'm getting all crisscross on you guys. In my old age, I sometimes forget to say some things, and then I've already said something else. And no, his death was quite tragic. He never had stopped wanting to convert the pagans of Frisia to Christians. He was quite old at the time and had accomplished much already. But still, that chip on his resume, which he was never able to complete his first goal, evangelize all of Frisia. He was reading scriptures to an audience when a band of angry armed pagans killed him and all of his servants. I heard he did not fight back and let death come upon him, making him a martyr. This man lived a great life, and once again, I was very privileged to get to know him. Thank you for your time. He was quite the man.
I'm Pepin the Short. So Pepin was the first king of the Carolingian dynasty. Pepin was born in 714 AD and died September 24th, 768, at the age of 54. Pepin's religion was Christianity. He was responsible for spreading Christianity throughout, he was responsible for spreading Christianity and was even crowned by the Pope. Pepin also donated land to the Pope. Pepin's father was Charles Martel, a Frankish and political military leader. Pepin's son was Charlemagne, a Roman emperor. His wife was Bertrada of Leon. Pepin the Short strengthened the Frankish kingdom by successfully defeating the Lombards. The Pope called him King of the Grace God. Christianity mattered at that, which shows how much Christianity mattered at that time. Pepin became the mayor of the palace for Neustra Aquitaine province. Why the name? Pepin may have been on the shorter than average size, but it is impossible to know for sure because we don't have many primary sources that describe the life of Pepin in that way. Even if he was a small man, he was strong and had marvelous courage. Pepin the Short was important in history because his rule was significant and highly beneficial to the Franks as a people. He made the Carolingians the ruling dynasty of the Franks and the foremost power of Europe. This is my map, and which shows where he ruled over Neustra, Aquitaine, and province, and as king. And this is a picture of him. And that's it.
I'm Carrington, and I did Charlemagne. Around 742 AD, Charlemagne was born near Linge in modern-day Belgium. In 751 AD, Charlemagne's father, Pepin the Short, was declared king. In 772 AD, Charlemagne defeats the Saxons and established Christianity in Saxony. In 777 AD, Zaragoza, Mexican army officer and politico, invites Charlemagne into Spain. In 800 AD, Charlemagne crowned Holy Roman Empire by Pope Leo III. In 814 AD, Charlemagne died from a likely combination of osteoarthritis, gout, and a recurrent fever caused by an infectious disease. Fun facts. 1. The crown that Charlemagne wore was the Iron Crown. 2. He left his empire to his son Louis the Pisces. 3. He was married to 5 different people in his lifetime. 4. He was nicknamed Father of Europe as the founding father of both the French and German monarchies. This was Charlemagne's oriflamme, and Charlemagne is coming back from the dead to talk about his life at the gym of Maple Street School. Tickets are $7.
This is my battle map of Alfred the Great's accomplishments in wars against the lands of the Britons and the Danish and Vikings. King Alfred the Great ruled from 871 to 899 in Wessex. for the Anglo-Saxons. His successor was his son, Alfred, or Alfred, and his father was, his mother was Osberth, and his father's was Ellsworth. He had his most successful war against the Danes was Ashdown and York, because that succeeded. That Wessex would survive against Britons. Inglefield was also a major battle for them. They lost in Wilton against the Danes. The yellow is Wessex, and here's the Danes, it's purple, and lands of the Britons is all the green, Scotland up here. Rivers are dark blue, seas are blue, mountains are always brown. All the cities and towns are the red dots here. And Alfred served his whole life as almost a king and a soldier. So that's it.
Hello, this is Sheepy Sheeperson with Sheep News. Today we have a special guest joining us from 1870. It's Ethelflad. Hello there, Sheepy. Please make this quick. I'm very busy. So, tell us a little bit about your life. Well, when I was a young girl, I was the daughter of Alfred and Ellsworth, and I had a lot of siblings. I don't even remember all of them. I was the eldest, and I got a very nice education. When I was 16, I got married to Ethelred, and I became Lady of Mercia. That's what I am today. Well, not anymore, but you know what I mean. Then, I don't even remember the year, I had my first battle with some silly Vikings who thought they could outsmart me. They were staying in some place in up north, and I threw bees at them. They couldn't stand the bee stings, so they had to leave. And then I had another battle. The silly Vikings were back again, and they wanted revenge. So, me and my brother Edward the Elder, he was the king of Wessex at the time, had to cut them off by river. We obviously won, of course. They were too scared. They surrendered almost immediately. Then, this silly old king from Northumbria came, and he was like, well, I'm going to have a battle because I feel like it. So, he came over and he attacked my poor kingdom. Oh, it was a sad day. He killed my abbot, which is like head of my church. Well, he obviously didn't know that was a terrible idea. 3 days later, I came over, burned his palace, took 33 captives, including his most trusted advisors and his queen. He was obviously pretty mad. So, at my biggest success battle, he came to fight me. Oh, that's very interesting. Can you tell us more about that? Oh, of course, yes. Well, I was fighting the Danes. No one really knows why, not even me. was. And he came along and he was like, well, I'm going to kill you. And he didn't, obviously. But what he did do was he killed almost all of my advisors. And when he realized that obviously I was going to win, he killed himself rather than let me win. And then I was capture York, but I died on the way, unfortunately. And my daughter, Elfwin, took my throne. Sadly, later my brother Edward the Elder came along, kidnapped her, and took my kingdom, turned it into a place that we now know as England. Thank you, and goodbye.
Otto the Great and the Holy Roman Empire. Otto the Great ruled the Roman Empire for 11 years. During those 11 years, he did not conquer much. He was one of the first rulers for the Holy Roman Empire. He ruled for 11 years here in the purple. He did not conquer much, but he set it up for success, as in the next two rulers, which was his cousin Henry II and Conrad III. They got it to its highest point, like it's where they ruled the most, which is in the blue. They ruled most of Europe. Then 1962, that's when he first started to rule the Holy Roman Empire, and then in 1978, I think, then 1978, that's when he stopped ruling it. That's when Conrad II took over, and then in 1014 AD, that's when Conrad III took over. 1200 AD, that's when the Holy Roman Empire was at its highest point, and then this is when his relative, long after he passed, started to rule the Holy Roman Empire, and then 1806 AD, that's when the decline of the Holy Roman Empire started to happen, and they just fell. So the red, the purple is that when he ruled it, all of this. Blue is when Henry II, Conrad III, and someone else ruled it, all at different times. And the red, that's how much when it fully, the decline fully started to happen. The Holy Roman Empire was created in 924, I believe, AD. Its greatest point was in 12,000 AD. The lowest point was in 1806 AD.
This is my poster about Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson was born in Iceland around 970 CE. His dad was Eric the Red, and his mom was Thorvald. His brother was Thorstein and his mom, and his sister was Freydis. His dad, Eric the Red, discovered Greenland in the early 980s. In 986 CE, he moved to Greenland in a place called Brathild. In the early 1000s, Leif traveled to Norway on a ship he bought with 35 men. He went to an area with rocks and glaciers, and he named it Helland, meaning land of rocks. In the mid-1000s CE, he went further south and came to a forest and named it Markland, or Forestland. In late 1000 CE, he traveled further south to an island that had luscious trees and plants. There were also grapevines. He called it Vinland or Wineland. His crew spent the winter there. They found salmon for food and fresh grass for cattle. Leif divided his crew in half and stayed and worked on the island, and the other half went exploring. In 1001 CE, the next spring, Leif and his crew set sail for Greenland. They brought lots of grapes with them. Leif found a shipwreck and rescued 15 people. When he brought them back to Greenland with him, they found homes and jobs. Leif got nicknamed Leif the Lucky after the rescue.
In 1010, Leif converted to Christianity, and Leif never returned to North America, but his brother Thorvald did. He spent the rest of his life in Greenland, spreading Christianity to the people, and he died around 120 CE. And this is a map of where he had been, and he was born here, and he died here. And some fun facts are that Leif Erikson Day is October 9th. Leif used a type of ship that was called a Knar, and there are 22 statues of Leif around the world. And Leif never got married. Leif had 2 sons, Thorgils and Thorkill.
Three, two, one, let's go. I'm Attila of Scotland from CE 1080 to 1118. I'm a queen, a dream, a wife, a mother, and more to be discovered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. 3, 2, 1, let's go. For starters, I'm one of King Henry's wives. King Henry I, King Henry of England. I'm very educated, very attractive, and I'm very good at advice, Regent Henry was away. Anyways, a fun little fact is my name is actually Edith, and I'm the Queen of England, not Scotland. I'm Matilda of Scotland from CE 1080 to 1118. I'm a queen, a dream, a wife, a mother, and more to be discovered. Get a snack, a drink, 'cause it's not over. 3, 2, 1, let's go. In my early life, I was a sweet little girl who dreamed of the big wide world. I was born in Dunfermline on the east coast of Scotland, very pretty and divine. I'm the daughter of King Malcolm III. I had blonde hair, blue eyes, and was always polite. I had lots of siblings, like around 22. I would list them out, but I'm gonna save that time for you. I'm Matilda of Scotland from CE 1080 to 1118. I'm a queen, a dream, a wife, a mother, and more to be discovered. It's almost over, but don't you cry. Perhaps I'll make another song some other time. 3, 2, 1, let's go. As you all know, I married King Henry I. Actually, let's invite him in.
I'm King Henry of England. When William II died, I couldn't take the throne. I was next in line. My eyes fell on Matilda, she was bold and fine. A queen in the making. Let's hear it one more time.
Me and Henry married on November 11th. At Westminster Abbey, I was no longer Edith. I had 2 children, a daughter and a son, also named Matilda, then William. My court at Westminster had musicians and poets. I acted like my mother and cared for the show. It's almost over, I'm sorry that it's done. I'll share some facts, just for fun. I had plenty of lads waiting to marry me. I lived in Scotland until I was 6, and perhaps I might be the fair lady in a nursery rhyme. London Bridge is falling down. I'm Matilda of Scotland from CE 1080 to 1118. I'm a queen, a dream, a wife, a mother, and more to be discovered. It's over and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye forever and 3, 2, 1.
Anna Coleman. So that is a picture of her. She lived in Constantinople, which is right there. And then in her early life, she was born on December 2nd, 1083. She was a Byzantine Greek princess. She also got a very good education. She studied literature, philosophy, history, and geography. And then in her late life, she had a husband named Nicephorus Brynos the Younger. They had 4 children, but they are not sure how Anna Coleman died. One of the possibilities is that her husband killed her because she didn't want to convert. And then this is her family tree. She has 7 siblings. Maria, John II, Andrew, Andronikus, Isaac, Evelika, Theodora, and herself. And then her parents were Alexios and then Irene. And then her mother's parents were Maria of Bulgaria, and then her dad's parents were Anna of Pallium, or Anna Pallium, and then her dad's dad was John. And then she wrote a book about her dad to show all of his accomplishments, and it was called The Alexid, and yeah, that's it. And then now, each person is going to get a brownie, and then each of the brownies have like little questions on them, and then like the person like will try to say the answer, and if they get it right, then yeah, and if they get it wrong, then I'll call on somebody else to answer. Hello, I'm Julta, the caretaker of Hildegard. Hildegard of Bingen was born in 1098 in Bockenheim, West Franconia, Germany, and she died on September 17, 1179 in Würzburg, near Bingen. And she grew up in Bockenheim. Hildegard was a sickly child who often showed behavior that you would see in autistic individuals. Though she was able to receive an education at a nearby Benedictine cloister, she experienced her first religious visions at the age of 3. She joined the Roman Catholicism nuns at the age of 15. Hildegard didn't accept her place in the world. That is what she had some of her visions about. This is where she was born on this map, and this is her religion was Roman Catholicism, and at the age of 8, Hildegard was mentored by a noblewoman named Julta. I had founded a community of women connected to the men's monastery. Hildegard joined the Benedictine habit at the age of 15. When I died, Hildegard became their abbess. Later, God told Hildegard to separate from the men's community and found a new monastery. 15 years later, she founded another one at Eldenben near modern-day Jerusalem. She received continual mystic visions that started when she was 3 and continued all throughout her life. Hildegard did not want to write them down until the age of 40 or so, when she was commanded to do so by the Lord. We do not know much about Hildegard's siblings, but what we do know is that there are records of 7 older siblings. Hildegard's parents were Method of Merksem and Herbert of Berkshire. Hildegard married Charlemagne at the age of 13, shortly after Carmelo's death. She later had 9 children with Charlemagne. Fun facts. What was she known for? Hildegard was known for being a talented musician, poet, and writer. She wrote 9 books and at least 155 known works. Hildegard was a smart woman who found success by expressing her unique voice. Hildegard was one of only 4 women who were named the Doctor of the Church, and she was named the Doctor of the Church in 2012. So whoever wants to answer, and some of her symbols were a feather, a book, and she had a staff. So now who would like to answer a question?
How many books did she write?
Okay, so I'm after Finn.
9!